Welcome to History with Herodotus, where the boundaries of time and space converge to reveal the intricate tapestry of human experience. Today, we embark on a fascinating journey through the tumultuous landscape of 19th century China, as we delve into the captivating story of the Taiping Rebellion, a pivotal event that shook the foundations of the Qing dynasty and left an indelible mark on the nation's history. The Taiping Rebellion, which unfolded between 1850 and 1864, was a complex and multifaceted phenomenon driven by a unique blend of religious, social, and economic factors. To grasp the essence of this rebellion, we must first immerse ourselves in the context of mid-19th century China, a land of ancient traditions, vibrant cultures, and simmering tensions. As we transport ourselves to this bygone era, we find China under the rule of the Qing dynasty, which had been in power since 1644. The Qing, a Manchu people from northeastern China, had established a vast and sophisticated empire with a complex bureaucracy, a strong military, and a rich cultural heritage. However, beneath the surface of this imposing edifice, cracks were beginning to appear. The early 19th century was a time of significant social and economic change in China. The population was growing rapidly, placing immense pressure on the country's agricultural resources and leading to widespread poverty, famine, and displacement. The Qing government, struggling to cope with these challenges, was increasingly seen as corrupt, inefficient, and out of touch with the needs of its people. In this fertile ground of discontent, a new movement began to take shape. In the southern province of Guangxi, a charismatic leader named Hong Xiuquan emerged, preaching a unique blend of Christianity, Confucianism, and Chinese folk religion. Hong, who claimed to have received visions from God, called for the overthrow of the Qing dynasty and the establishment of a new heavenly kingdom on earth. Hong's message resonated deeply with the disaffected and marginalized segments of Chinese society, particularly in the southern provinces where the influence of the Qing government was weaker. His teachings emphasized the importance of social justice, equality, and the redistribution of wealth, striking a chord with peasants, artisans, and other ordinary people who felt exploited and oppressed by the existing order. As Hong's following grew, he began to attract like-minded individuals, including his cousin Hong Rengan and a former schoolteacher Feng Yunshan. Together, they formed the core of the Taiping movement, which would eventually become a powerful force, challenging the authority of the Qing dynasty and plunging China into a period of unprecedented turmoil. The early years of the Taiping movement were marked by a series of small-scale uprisings and skirmishes with local authorities. However, it was not until 1850 that the rebellion gained momentum, as Hong Xiuquan and his followers launched a bold attack on the Qing government's forces in Guangxi. This event, known as the Jintian Uprising, marked the beginning of the Taiping Rebellion, a conflict that would rage across southern China for over a decade, leaving behind a trail of destruction, chaos, and transformation. As the Jintian Uprising marked the beginning of the Taiping Rebellion, Hong Xiuquan's followers, now a formidable force, began to expand their territorial control. By 1851, they had captured the city of Yong'an, which became their temporary capital. This strategic location allowed them to consolidate their power and launch further attacks on Qing government forces. The Taiping army, estimated to be around 10,000 strong at this point, was a disciplined and well-organized force with a unique system of governance and social hierarchy. In January 1853, the Taipings launched a bold assault on the city of Nanjing, which fell after a brutal and devastating siege. The capture of Nanjing, a key city in southern China, marked a significant turning point in the rebellion. Hong Xiuquan, now confident in his military prowess, declared Nanjing the capital of his heavenly kingdom, which he called the Taiping Tianguo. The city became the center of Taiping power, with Hong as its supreme leader. The Taiping's occupation of Nanjing was marked by a series of radical social and economic reforms. They implemented a system of communal land ownership, abolished private property, and established a network of workshops and factories to promote self-sufficiency. Women were also granted greater rights and freedoms, including the right to own property and participate in governance. These innovative policies attracted many disillusioned with the Qing government's corruption and inefficiencies. However, the Taiping's rule was not without its challenges. The city of Nanjing was heavily fortified, and the Taipings had to contend with constant sieges and skirmishes with Qing government forces. In 1856, a brutal civil war broke out within the Taiping ranks as rival factions vied for power and control. This internal conflict weakened the movement, allowing the Qing government to launch a series of counterattacks. One notable example of the Taiping's military prowess was their use of innovative tactics, such as the deployment of armored ships on the Yangtze River. In 1854, a fleet of Taiping warships clashed with Qing government vessels near the city of Wuchang, resulting in a decisive Taiping victory. This naval triumph allowed the Taipings to control key waterways and transport routes, further consolidating their power. As the rebellion raged on, foreign powers began to take notice of the conflict. In 1853, the British and French governments sent diplomatic missions to Nanjing, hoping to establish trade relations with the Taiping government. However, these overtures were rebuffed by Hong Xiuquan, who saw foreign intervention as a threat to his authority. By 1858, the Qing government had regrouped and launched a series of devastating counterattacks against the Taipings. The city of Nanjing was besieged once again, and the Taiping army was forced to fight on multiple fronts. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, the Taipings continued to resist, employing guerrilla tactics and hit-and-run attacks to harass Qing government forces. In 1860, the Taipings suffered a significant blow when their key ally, the Nean Rebellion, was defeated by Qing government forces. The Nean Rebellion, a separate uprising in northern China, had been cooperating with the Taipings, providing them with military support and supplies. Without this crucial alliance, the Taiping's prospects for victory began to dwindle. As the rebellion entered its final phase, the Taipings became increasingly isolated and desperate. In 1862, Hong Xiuquan's cousin, Hong Rengan, attempted to negotiate a peace treaty with the Qing government, but these efforts were ultimately unsuccessful. The Qing government, now confident of victory, launched a series of brutal assaults on Taiping strongholds, including the city of Nanjing. As the Qing government's armies closed in on Nanjing, the Taiping situation became increasingly dire. In June 1864, the city was breached, and after a brutal battle, Hong Xiuquan died, reportedly by taking poison to avoid capture. The fall of Nanjing marked the effective end of the Taiping Rebellion, although scattered remnants of the movement continued to resist for several more years. The aftermath of the rebellion was devastating, with estimates suggesting that between 20 and 30 million people had lost their lives in the conflict. The Qing government, having finally suppressed the rebellion, sought to rebuild and restore order to the devastated regions. However, the legacy of the Taiping Rebellion would continue to shape Chinese history for generations to come, as the Chinese historian and philosopher Mao Zedong would later observe. The Taiping Heavenly Kingdom was a peasant war, and it had a very great significance in Chinese history. It shook the foundations of the Qing dynasty and paved the way for the bourgeois democratic revolution of 1911. The Taiping Rebellion's emphasis on social justice, equality, and its challenge to traditional authority would inspire future movements and revolutions in China. Today, the Taiping Rebellion is remembered as one of the most significant events in Chinese history, a testament to the power of peasant uprisings and the enduring struggle for social change. In China, the rebellion is often portrayed as a heroic struggle against foreign domination and feudal oppression, while in Taiwan and other countries, it is seen as an important chapter in the development of Chinese nationalism. The rebellion's innovative social and economic policies, such as communal land ownership and women's rights, would inspire similar movements around the world. As the historian Jonathan Spence has noted, the Taiping Rebellion was a major event in world history, one that deserves to be studied and understood by anyone interested in the complexities of human experience. In conclusion, the Taiping Rebellion was a pivotal moment in Chinese and world history, marking the beginning of a new era of social and political upheaval. The Taiping Rebellion may have ended in defeat, but its impact continues to be felt today, serving as a powerful reminder of the importance of understanding our shared human past. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, remember that To understand the present, we must first understand the past.